You don't have to be a plastic copy like everyone else. Oh my goodness. Car was literally ice skating there. What's good, fam? Welcome back to Unlockable Character. I just got done with the gym. You know, before, my iPad used to slide in here more easily. Let's see. I saw one comment that said, you know, it basically disappeared when I slid it in there. But all right, let's set up the car, guys. I'm gonna hit start engine stop 3 times, put it in diagnostic mode, which lets me open up the valves before the car is fully started. Let's see. I'm gonna put it into rear wheel drive mode. That check engine light should go away. Alright, there we go. And now we'll put it in track mode. Quite a startup sequence, but it's pretty fun, it's pretty engaging. The gauge clusters change, you know. The car just feels alive. There's so much you can do with changing up the settings. So what I want to do first of all, guys, is talk about... Jeez, it's so loud. Maybe you can't even hear me. What I want to talk about first, and of course Waze needs my location for my phone. What I want to talk about first is how you can break down what you want to achieve in life based on how things make you feel and what motivates you, what gives you energy. So as you're going through life, you're gonna find, you know, what are the things that really energize you, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are things, and you have to try things. It's not just like you're gonna know immediately. You know, you're not gonna know immediately what is for you. You have to go out into the world and try things. So, first of all, just having the openness to fail and try something new will get you further than trying to protect your ego in any situation. So yeah, guys, you have to be able to push yourself to do something that's unfamiliar and uncomfortable in the beginning, and then, you know, within a few times of trying it, you're gonna fall, obviously, you know, you're gonna mess up the first few times, but you're gonna see if you find joy, if your soul connects with whatever you're doing. But you have to try, and sometimes, you know, it takes people pushing you to try, you know, to try something new, to go into that deep end, you know, to dive into that swimming pool. But there's an incredible quote that I read the other day that said, you know, you're gonna learn more from falling than preventing yourself from taking a step. You know what I mean? You're never going to learn from being fearful. You will only really become a master of yourself when you're able to step through fear, when you can swallow it in your stomach. That's what I like to describe it as. And as you're trying new things, you also will meet new people. You know, if you're online all the time, you're not really meeting the real version of people, you know? You might be interacting with bots. You might not even be interacting with real people, so you won't get a real sense of the world. And so when you're young and you're naive and you're online all the time, I'm telling you, you know, you don't have to be as depressed because what you're seeing online, just don't believe it. Go out into the real world and try things, you know? And then give back online with authenticity, and you'll build real communities. You'll build real friendships. You don't have to be a plastic copy like everyone else. Oh my goodness. Pop this on when the traffic clears up, guys. Let's go. All right, fam. You know I'm listening to Laser Dim. Come on, you know what I mean? You guys better be listening to him. If you're not from Atlanta, you need to get in and check him out. And if you are from Atlanta, you should be listening to him because he's got a distinct sound and he just has fun on the beat, you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. That's really what life is all about. If you think about it, it's like a beat. If you can dance to it, if you can make music to it, in any situation, it'll have a frequency. And what I was talking about before, which is, you know, taking a leap, taking a risk, and then trying out things, you know. Yes, the first few times you may not like something, but eventually something might click. And then just remember what clicks for you, you know what I mean? And try to, although you might not be able to, you know, make a living from it immediately or, you know, master it immediately, try to make it a part of your life, like a routine, and slowly build towards it. And you can associate goals with things that you love, you know? And unfortunately, we got to make a living. So if there's a way to make a business out of what you love, for example, arts and crafts, you could use AI today to create outlines of drawings or even illustrations. And you could take those drawings and you could sell them, for example, on a merchant store, or you could apply them to clothing. You could start your own clothing brands. You don't even need to hold inventory anymore, you know? And if you're really into fashion and arts and crafts and, you know, you're not using technology right now, now is the time. And, you know, these things that you do, when you do them, if it gives you energy, if you feel better about actually spending the time to do that thing, keep doing it. You know what I mean? And try to just drown out the noise. If people who have never taken the risks that you've taken are trying to undermine you or cut you down, you don't need to listen to them. And when you're a creative, let's say on YouTube, and you put out videos, you're obviously going to get comments, good and bad. I tried my best early on to respond to every comment, but after a while, you know, just the action of responding takes up so much time that for me, with everything that I have in my life, I have to speed up the delivery, right? I want to make videos daily. I also was protecting myself by not replying to every comment because some comments are just not worth your time. And that's the whole thing about being chronically online. If you're chronically online, you're going to see every comment that comes in, and your whole day might get thrown off by one comment. And that's where you could protect your energy by A, not even looking at the comments, or B, learning the mental resilience to not let somebody that you don't know on the internet throw you off because of some negative words, you know what I mean? And when you're young, that can really affect you. I know just how, you know, sensitive people can be. And just learning how to not care about what people are talking about you or saying about you is such a big life skill, especially when you've found something that gives you joy, gives you value, and you're creating, you know, content around it, or you're creating a business around it. You can drown out the noise. So just remember that, guys. I'm gonna cap it here and turn it back on when the traffic clears up, guys. All right, let's go. Alright fam, traffic is opening up a little bit. Just had a little pull underneath that tunnel. This is the best part of the car, where you're cruising, right? I'm gonna both go to 5th, open up the valves. It's like the car becomes a whole different animal, or a different beast. I still gotta look up that Kobe Bryant quote. Yeah, no scam calls. So many scam calls, guys, with Atlanta phone numbers too, that 404. So let's talk about some geopolitics. Let's get some deep thoughts out there right now. You've clearly seen what Trump is doing, right? It's chaos. or it seems like chaos. But what he's really doing is a combination of a little bit of vindictive, you know, behavior where he's going after the federal government, which went after him. But it's also, through Elon Musk, some necessary, real short-term pain. Although I will argue that it could be done more strategically. It's kind of like taking a shotgun to where you need a hammer for nails. You know, you're just shooting everything. They could have definitely taken a more tactical approach, especially when it comes to laying off government workers. But guys, if we didn't do anything, we were looking at Social Security running out by the 2030s. So we're going to extend the timelines for a lot of social services in the United States to be able to be funded because of all these short-term, you know, cuts, things like that. So that's one thing. So there is this vindictive behavior where he wants to, you know, get back at the government for treating him so poorly. And at the same time, he also knows that we need to fund our social services through the next 3-4 decades, right? So that's why the administration is really going so crazy and doing what it's doing. And yes, you know, Elon Musk, it really is like a risk because of all of his companies and all the government contracts that they receive. You know, there's clearly going to be some favoritism, but that's the name of the game now. It's out in the open. The Democrats, as much as they want to take the high ground, it's always been about who you know and the connections, you know what I mean? Even if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, it's the same thing. The Republicans are just showing it out, you know, more in the open now than ever. And let's talk about Russia and China. So Trump is cozying up to Russia. You can all see that. He's basically told the US government to stand down in terms of cybersecurity against Russia and focus on China. And what I'm seeing, what I'm getting out of this is that he wants to use Russia as a counter to China. And we're really entering a new world order where the global, you know, order itself is being changed. So climate change is obviously going on, and what you're going to see is America, Russia, and China vying for natural resources, especially in warming areas like Siberia, the Arctic, you know, northern Canada. All of those areas are going to warm up, and more natural resources are going to be available, and it's going to be a gold rush, you know? So we're going to enter a new world era, and I think Trump is trying to strengthen a relationship with Russia to counter China. And at the same time, you know, he's going to give aid to Israel, cut aid to Ukraine, and use Israel as a counter to Russia and Iran's influence in the Middle East. I, of course, am someone who is America first, but that doesn't mean that we support Israel the way that we do right now, because Israel clearly has control over the US government, and I think is one of the biggest enemies of the United States is our, you know, absolute, you know, I would say almost servant-like behavior to Israel. It's crazy. Oh, crazy. So much just easy kind of floating with this car, you know what I mean? I'm getting a hang of it now, you know, I really understand where the boost is coming in. I put 5 gallons of E85 in on this stage 2 map, even though it's a 93 octane stage 2 map. The E85 will basically give the car a little bit of a safeguard in terms of time, not pulling timing, having high quality octane, and getting that full boost. Preventing knocking, because the last thing I want is a lot of knocking in this car. Knocking is engine detonation, by the way. And when you look at your logs in MHD, when you look at the codes, sometimes you'll see knocking. Most of the time, that can really mean that it's just a poor quality fuel. You know, you need to turn down the boost. You need to go to a lower stage map if you're running a fuel that isn't as high quality as possible. And ethanol in the United States is pretty much the highest quality fuel you can get unless you buy race gas. So looks like there's a ton of cops coming up ahead. What I'm gonna do is take the next exit and come back around, and we'll do a little bit more ASMR style of just straight driving. I think it might be spitting flames, guys. I gotta get someone behind the car to see what it's like. See if those 4 police officers are up there. Damn, that Corolla just came in hard behind that truck. What the hell? Alright fam, another artist for you guys to check out. He just dropped a new album, Slim Gorilla. I'm telling you, if you like that 90s swang, you know what I'm saying? Definitely check him out. Let's see, I think that's an undercover right there. So in Georgia, if you ever see an all-black car and it has no markings that are visible from, I think it's at least 6 feet, that means that they're not going to be able to pull you over for any situation, because if that happens, you know, you never know if it's a real car or not. So it's a little you know, tip for you. If you get pulled over by a completely blacked out vehicle with no markings, you don't have to stop. Just an FYI. And if you do get pulled over and get a ticket, you can throw it out, because they're not supposed to be initiating traffic stops like that. The blacked out vehicles that will do traffic stops will have lettering that you can actually see. Sometimes it'll be reflective, like a shadow, kind of dark gray against the body of the car. Okay, so you'll see another cruiser coming, but this one I'm sure will actually have lettering on it, so you can see, yeah, there you go. So that is a car that can actually, you know, enforce traffic citations. Clearly had white letters on the side of it. There's another one coming too, that's interesting. They're all out here, guys. It's like, what time is it? 5 o'clock on the dot, so be careful if you're out here, you know. All right, I think it's gonna turn green here, so. Unfortunately, the sun's in our way now, guys, but we did see that cruiser go, so. Yeah, the sun is really intense. So I'll just talk for a little bit, guys, so you don't get glare from this freaking sun, and you'll be able to see a little bit. Nice 540i that went by. I met this really awesome elderly gentleman at the ethanol pump in Dunwoody today named Bob. And he was telling me in 2001 he had the 540i as a company car, and he just misses the wood grain, because you don't get wood grain on cars anymore, you know what I'm saying? And I think wood is less performance, you know, it's more luxury. So if you got an M5 though, and you got like brown leather, I could see wood being appealing, but with the exterior design of the new M5, I don't think wood would go anymore. On the F90, yeah, but on the G chassis M5, nope. I don't think would make sense anymore. It's too futuristic. And cars are finally moving into this future vision, right guys? If you look at the Nissan Z, if you look at the Ferrari 12 Cilindri, and I can't really pronounce that correctly, but you can tell what I'm, you know, saying when you look at the car. If you look at the Ferrari, what is it, the GTB, 296 GTB, you'll also be able to tell that the styling is futuristic. Ferrari is going in a certain direction. The 12 Cilindri looks really good as a convertible. I don't think it looks good, you know, as a coupe, but that's just my, you know, my preference. The Nissan Z I loved right when it came out. The M2 I think also has that future kind of cyberpunk look. It's kind of squared off. It's kind of retro 80s, but still futuristic. The Cybertruck, I don't know if you want to call that futuristic, but it's in that same kind of group of cars. And yeah, I think, you know, we're finally seeing a new design language moving forward from car companies that is futuristic. So I would say that the Ferrari 296 is going to go and be remembered as one of the like all-time classic Ferraris. It is a 6-cylinder, but if you guys haven't heard any videos with the car where there's a full exhaust on it, it sounds unreal. I think it revs up to 8,000 RPM as a 6-cylinder twin turbo engine hybrid. And while you're cruising, I know I have valves, but imagine you're in fully electric mode and you're cruising and then the engine kicks in. It's like a LM race car, absolutely unreal. So 296 with the looks, with the engine, I think is going to be remembered as a timeless car. I actually would really love to collect and drive a 296 GTB. So just some 2 cents on futuristic cars and some future classics, I would say. Also the M4 CS, if you can get an M4 CS in Riviera Blue, 2025, that is a future classic of a car, 100%. I've seen that they're sitting at dealers because the MSRP on those is like $130,000. So, you know, people aren't really forking out $130,000 for an M4 right now. But I'm sure if you see one that sits for over 90 days, you can get in there, ask for some money off MSRP, and you'll walk away with a car that'll hold its value pretty well. You know, I think in the short term, of course, it'll drop the value, but over the course of 5 to 10 years, you're probably going to exit that car at what you entered into it, and probably have a ton of equity at the end of even like a 3-year period if you wanted to finance an M4 CS and you have good credit. So there are options out there, guys, that right now are going to be future classics and you could get into, drive, and get out of. So not too much glare anymore. Keeping an eye on my rear view because I don't want that cruiser coming. But of course they also have, you know, jurisdiction, so they can't pull you over in a different town. But in Georgia, that's what GSP is going to be called on you, so you better be careful, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what it sounds like under this bridge here. That sounded really good. I'll check the MHD for any error codes, but having a little bit of ethanol in there is preventing any of the knocking that I've seen, and the car is really performing beautifully. Just imagine, guys, you know, picture yourself in 3 years in an individual G82 that you ordered. You know, you're coming back from the gym. It's a chance for you to really, in the moment, understand how far you've come. Say you're working towards that right now. That's a goal. Visualize it, because you will get there. If I can get there, you know what I mean? You can get there. And now is the time to start actually making a plan to get there, with investing, with creating businesses, okay? If you're not in the Discord, you're missing out on incredible options, signals. Today, at the end of the day, I told people to get in right when SPY, basically plummeted to $592. If you went in long on SPY, which means getting in on an option at about $595 with an expiration in April or longer, you're gonna be printing, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if you double or triple your money if you got in at the end of the day today. So plays like that you will find in the Discord, and you're gonna make your money back on the first day. That's what I'll tell you. There's a sick Corvette. I wonder if that's my friend Drew. Who is that? Let's see. Oh, that thing looks crazy. He was looking at his phone. You know it's windy out, so that's super loud behind the car. Like I really want to know what that sounds like. We'll get some rolling footage soon, guys. Uphill, like this is pretty steep uphill. I know you guys saw that Sandy Springs police cruiser right there. I know he's on that side, but that does usually mean that there's more cops up ahead. So much torque that it's literally torque steering. It's taking the wheel and it's moving the car. It's crazy. Oh my god. I think the person behind me is videoing us. That's kind of cool. Sometimes there's cops on this stretch of the road, so tame it down, turn it off for the time being. Car was literally ice skating there. Isn't that crazy, the sound difference, guys? I'll turn everything on again. It's honestly too funny, guys. Once this clears up, I'll turn this back on. Alright, fam, let's see what we're getting into here. Turn the car back on. In rear-wheel drive, there's a ton of dust here, so clearly not going to have as much traction when we get up to the intersection and give it gas. That's something you guys need to be paying attention to when you go over a road surface. You got dust, you got mud, you got water, you got ice, grass, leaves, all of that. Like when you're in the mountains here, we have lots of leaves that build up on the sides, and what people don't look out for is what happens when leaves build up on your tires. That's when you can easily spin out when you're on a mountain drive. I know in the West Coast you guys have canyons, but you guys will see as soon as I give it some gas, this is gonna not go straight. And that was like 30% throttle, you know what I mean? And it started torque steering and losing traction. If I gave it 50% throttle, it would be burning through the tires there. Alright, fam. You know we have to be a menace. I'm telling you guys, when you get a car and you think about the fun factor, a tuned G80 or G82 is like an 11 out of 10 in terms of fun factor. Like this, the ability to break traction pretty much at will. The fact that it's 500 wheel horsepower, you know, basically from the factory, which is pretty much the limit of what you need on the street unless you've had like 10 years of driving experience, you know, it's such a crazy concept that you can get into this car for $50,000 to $60,000. That silver car was a police officer, so let's go into all-wheel drive. There's too much dust on the road, guys. It's too windy. Good traction. Oh yeah, by the way, it's all-wheel drive and you can put it into rear-wheel drive. 11 out of 10 fun factor. There's no Porsche that can do that. We're still on all-wheel drive, mind you guys. That was, I would say, 5 to maybe 7% of throttle. Truly not much, like, at all. Let's turn it off right now. There you go, completely silent, like the car is electric. Insane that you can do that. That's also fun. I mean, driving around like this isn't that fun, but being able to switch between the modes is crazy fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed riding along with me today. I'm gonna try to get some more outside footage for you guys. I know you've been requesting it, so let me see if I can find a cool spot, get some outside footage of the car, and then we'll cap the video. All right, let's go.